Today the European Parliament has voted to increase the EU budget and indeed increase the European Parliament's budget. And if anyone had taken just a casual look at the report that New Direction had written and published just over a week ago, they would have seen that there's enormous opportunity for making savings in the Parliament's budget. That budget at the moment is over €1.5 billion a year. We estimate that quite easily some 400 million could be cut off that budget without in any way affecting the core functions of the Parliament. We hear a lot of criticism about MEPs, and we've seen in the press already, as a result of today's vote in the Parliament, talk about MEPs cutting back on their costs and the costs of their travel and things like that. It's not the MEPs that are driving the costs in this Parliament. It is the bureaucracy of the Parliament. We have seen the most enormous increase in that bureaucracy over the last 7 or 8 years. In fact, the full scale of that is outlined very clearly in this report, which I commend to everybody. And if you can see the graph on the front here, the MEPs have remained more or less static in recent years, but the number of officials has grown enormously. We have 732 MEPs. The staff now are over 6,000. The greatest part of that is in translation and interpretation. There's great scope for reducing the waste in the translation costs of the Parliament. And of course, if you look at the number of officials in the Parliament, every official needs an office. Do you wonder why the Parliament now owns or leases or rents 62 buildings? It's because of this colossal number of officials. And the numbers keep increasing. The budget now, the Parliament now is going to purchase a new building in Strasbourg and spend a lot of money in refurbishing that building. There are plans afoot to spend hundreds of millions in Luxembourg. This is at a time when in all of our countries governments are slashing public expenditure, and yet the European Parliament and other EU institutions go on spending money with enormous profligacy, as if it just doesn't matter. And I'm afraid our taxpayers and the citizens of our country are fed up with this. And unless we want a real revolt against everything to do with the European Union, it's time the EU put its house in order and cut its budget. And we could start with the European Parliament with some really sensible efforts to cut back on waste and over-expenditure and extravagance.